Hospital of the Dead. People say that prevention is better than a cure, and that a hospital is no place for the sick. On that Thursday, both of those sayings turned out to be true. The long waiting times, broken vending machines, and the dead rising made sure of it. Sam sat for over 2 hours in the waiting room, watching only murderers in the building on his phone and feeling the day slip away. Well, at least he wasn't at work. But then again, rotting away on an uncomfortable chair was also not the best way to spend the day. Plus, his damned phone was about to die. He really needed to start charging at night, or at least take a charger with him when he left the apartment. EMTs rolled through again. Yet another bleeding man on the gurney. And this one, too, looked like he'd gone 6 rounds against a bear. His face and arms were scratched. A chunk of his shin and biceps was missing, as if bitten off. Are the riots in the district still raging? Sam thought, taking his headphones out. Screams and cries filled his ears. So much for keeping quiet, he muttered, making his way to the admissions desk. 6 people stood there, all looking way worse than him. In fact, most people did. He glanced at the 24 people waiting with him. Some were stabbed, some bruised. Others had visibly broken limbs. One of those a 10-year-old boy, crying his heart out. And they all had to wait just as he did. At least my plight is imaginary, he thought, pointing at the nurse behind the desk. I only have a quick question, he said to the woman next in line. Do you mind? Sure, she said, eyeing him. Are you waiting long? Since 11, why? Geez, she muttered, cradling her wrist. I'll say, he turned to the nurse. Do you have a charger? He lifted his phone. Beg your pardon? The woman asked. A phone charger, my battery is low, he explained, and peppered some lies in. And my mom will call me. The woman snorted. Sure, you can have mine. A snarl tore through the screams and cries. A shriek followed it. And Sam turned, only to see a short blonde doctor running out of one of the rooms, her tunic and face covered in blood. A man sprinted out of the same room, blood dripping from his mouth. God damn it, Sam said, wishing he hadn't skipped work. Now the police would get involved. He would have to give a statement, and the man tackled the blonde doctor and sank his teeth into her neck. Blood sprayed. Panic erupted. Some shouted for security, others ran away, and yet others ran to help. People shoved past him as they ran, leaving Sam standing there dumbfounded, watching the man's head snap left and right, a piece of her skin in his mouth. He swallowed it whole. 2 men tackled the attacker, the third picking up the doc and dragging her away. Sam didn't shout. He didn't help. He just stared as yet another blood-covered man joined the fray, then another. Blood flowed freely. They tore into anyone near, even the pregnant woman, even the boy with the broken arm. But his eyes locked on the screaming kid, on a man atop the boy's chest, nails tearing into the boy's face. The sharp tang of old coins filled the air, cutting through the smell of antiseptic and sickness, creating a repugnant odor he could almost taste. The boy stilled, and Sam looked away, not able to bear the scene any longer. His eyes landed on the doc, twisting in pain, her whole body convulsing, almost collapsing in on itself, before her arms snapped up. Her fingers grabbed the man who held her. Her teeth ripped into his shoulder, and her eyes turned to him, bloodshot and lifeless. She growled and rushed him. Sam spun on his heel and ran straight into the nurse, a charger still in her hand. Both of them stumbled. She fell to the floor, and he crashed into a door. Nurse's screams filled his ears as the blonde doctor mounted her like a starving beast and rode her down to the floor, teeth and nails tearing into her. Sam shoved the door open and rushed in, slamming it behind himself. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, illuminating the long sink and the open stall doors. The smell of human waste overpowered the coppery stench of blood, and Sam found himself grateful for it, ironic considering. He pressed his back to the door, panting, every growl and scream outside muffled by thin wood and tile. His hands shook, his heart beating in his ears. A thud rattled the door, then another. A zombie slammed against it. Barricade, he thought, looking around for something, anything he could use. A cupboard, a fucking mop he could jam against the door, but the only thing he saw was a plastic wet floor sign. Fuck, breathed. The zombie slammed against the door again and again, the massive white door rattling with each bang, and he was trapped in a first-floor bathroom with no way out. Fuck, he cursed again, and a scream rose from the outside. The things growled, and hard steps echoed in the hallway as the zombies ran off, leaving him alone and safe in the shitter. He almost laughed at the insanity of the situation. What were the odds that a fucking zombie outbreak starts on the same day he decides to skip work? On the same day, he fakes a headache just not to deal with fuckwits. Sam would blame karma, or God, or the universe, if he believed in such nonsense. But no, he was a modern, educated man. A rational man with student loan debts and disdain for his 9-to-5, like every other good American. And this rational man is trapped in a hospital toilet. Amazing, he muttered, letting himself slide to the tiled floor. It was cold, dirty, and wet, and he couldn't muster the strength to care. Not even a single iota. Someone whined. Sam stiffened, eyes scanning the bathroom, but he saw nothing. A cough came from one of the stalls, followed by a groan and a thud. "Hello," Sam said, walking towards the sound and the clean floor sign. The groan sounded again. Then it turned to a whimper, then into something else, something less human. Sam lunged for the sign as the thing growled. A male zombie burst out of the stall. Sam slammed the wet floor sign into its face. The zombie staggered, shook its head, and lunged again, all in a space of a breath. Sam jumped back and slipped on the wet floor, losing his balance and stumbling into the stall. The zombie slid past him, head crashing against the sink, and it flopped to the tiled floor. Sam's breath came in shallow bursts, holding the sign tightly as he studied the thing. Was it dead? Gunshots came from the outside, followed by growls, snarls, and screams, but all were distant. Could the noise be drawing the things away? Sam thought, suddenly feeling hopeful. Maybe he could get out of here. The zombie snarled and jerked. The thing got on all fours and charged. Sam rushed back into one of the stalls and locked it. The zombie slammed against the gray door. Stupid, Sam muttered to himself. He watched and played enough zombie games to know to always double tap. The door rattled again, and he sat down on the closed bowl, catching his breath and thinking about his next move. And all his mind did was focus on the problems. Lack of weapons, and even if he had any, the tight space made it impossible to swing, and a flimsy door that opened inward, making the space even tighter. Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? The zombie slammed into the door again, and the hinges rattled, the screws growing loose. Wait, he muttered to himself, forcing himself to think differently, to look at the situation from another angle. Yes, the space was tight, and yes, he had no weapons, and the damn door opened inward, and he could use all three. Sam glanced up at the white ceiling, then at the divider to his left, and stood. He could squeeze through. Perfect. He mounted the bowl and swung himself onto the divider, and sat on it, watching the zombie claw and slam against the shitty door, watching it bleed and slobber all over it. Trying its darndest to get him, Sam leaned down and unlocked the door. It exploded inward, or it would have if he hadn't braced his legs against it, trapping the thing halfway in and out. And Sam pushed with both his legs and all his weight. The door and divider screamed in protest, but he pressed harder. Bones cracked, the thing howled, and Sam squeezed it until more bones cracked, and the claw-like hand flopped uselessly. Sam pulled his legs back and kicked. The head cracked in a shower of blood, just as the door splintered. But Sam kicked one last time, just to be safe. The door fell off its hinges, and the lifeless body slid to the bloody floor. Brain and blood scattered around. "Fuck me," he breathed, lowering himself into the second stall. His legs, arms, and back burned with the effort, and his hands shook from the adrenaline. But at least it was over. For now, he thought, glancing at the body. What the hell should he do about that? He couldn't sit next to it. That would definitely kill him. Problem for later, he muttered, letting the cold water hit his hands. He washed his face and felt the adrenaline leave his body, all his limbs becoming heavy and his mind lethargic, despite the gunshots echoing outside. He needed a moment to rest, a moment to think. The doorknob turned, and someone pushed the door inwards. Sam threw himself at the door, shoving it back. The knob turned again, and someone pressed against the door once more. Sam planted his feet and held it closed. "Let us in," said a high-pitched voice. "Find your own hiding spot," Sam answered back. "They are gone," the voice cracked. "Please." The woman sounded on the verge of panic. "You can find another hiding spot?" he hissed. "Please," the woman begged. Sam shook his head, gunshots and screams still filling his ears. But they were quieter, distant, probably coming from the ground floor. "My son, please," she said again. Fuck. He stood, looking for the plastic sign. It lay next to the sink where he had dropped it. "Give me a second," he said, and lunged for the sign just as the door opened. A woman in her mid-30s rushed in and slammed the door shut, her maybe 5-year-old son clinging to her legs. Sam brandished the yellow and red plastic sign at them. "Easy," the woman lifted her hands. "We don't want any trouble, okay?" "Mommy," the boy's voice quavered. "What is happening? Where is Daddy?" "Shh." The woman patted his head, but never took her eyes off Sam. "It's all going to be okay. Can you lower that, please?" Sam lowered the plastic sign but didn't let it go. "Where did they go?" "Thank you," she said, her face twisting in pain. "Downstairs, after the gunshots, I think." "You didn't see?" "No. That B word scratched me real good," she muttered, turning her leg around, showing bleeding gashes across the calf. "Just scratched?" Sam asked. She nodded. "Mind if I wash it out?" He nodded, backing away. Could he use that information? All the zombies ran downstairs so he could run upstairs? But no, he would end up in the same dead-end situation again. Well, not totally the same. He glanced at the broken body. He needed to get out, but how? "Thank you," she said, letting the water flow. "Are you thirsty, honey?" The boy shook his head. The ground floor was overrun, so perhaps the basement? He turned to the door, as if he could see through it. But no, that too was too risky. That only left windows, and the bathroom had none. "I need a new hiding place," he thought. "You should still drink something." Her face twisted in pain. "S-word," she said, smiling down at her son. He nodded, but no smile adorned his lips as he took a sip, and Sam watched the woman's face grimace in pain as she washed the wound out. Blood smeared the white sink and tiled floor, hers or zombies? Sam asked himself. The woman shuddered, coughing. Blood droplets hit the mirror, and she leaned on the sink. "Mommy?" the boy asked. "It's all okay," she choked. "Mommy's fine." And only then did Sam notice it. A separate wound, just under the scratch. More circular, deeper. It almost looked like teeth marks. The woman tried pushing herself upright, but she shuddered and fell. "Mommy?" The boy's voice cracked. She didn't answer, writhing in pain on the floor, her body contorting and spasming, before it almost crumpled into itself. Fuck, he thought. looking at the turning woman and the big white door behind her. He had to reach it. He had to get out. Sam ran for the door. "Mom?" The boy reached for her, and she reached back. The boy was yanked down just as she rushed up. Teeth tore into his arm. Blood splashed the dirty tiles. The boy screamed and Sam swung. The plastic sign hit her head, and she jerked back, slamming her head against the wall. Tiles cracked, and the thing snarled. But Sam was already out, stepping back into that blood-covered waiting room, letting the door slam back, leaving a 5-year-old to be eaten alive by his mother. However, morality wasn't something he could dwell on at the moment. Heavy sprinting steps echoed in the stairwell, and the gunshots roared on the ground floor. Sam had to move to get into one of the patient rooms or an exam room. He had to get out of the hallway and then the hospital. Fingers closed around his shoulder. Sam jumped away, or he tried to, but another set of hands grabbed him, fingers pressing against his mouth and nose, pulling him back. Sam stumbled into someone, and the hands released him. He found himself surrounded by 4 men, armed with mops and IV stands. Sam stared at them as they studied him. 2 white coats, a janitor's uniform, a hospital gown, faces blurred together, just shapes and movement. They all looked the same in the flickering light, eyes wide, breath fast, hands shaking. Sam didn't care who they were. He just cared that they weren't biting him. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. "You bit?" whispered the taller of the 2 doctors. The guns and screams still echoing from downstairs. Police sirens joined them at some point. Sam shook his head, glancing at the bathroom. The patient tracked his eyes and reached for the door. "No," Sam hissed. The man froze. "Dead inside," Sam whispered. "How many?" the taller doctor asked. "We have to move," the janitor said, holding a key in his hand. "Will you join us?" Sam nodded emphatically. It was not as if he had any other options. He was lucky so far, and he couldn't count on it holding. "Good," the man said, leading the way. Sam followed them, holding his broken sign in both hands, eyes between the stairwell and his little group. Or, well, the group that adopted him. He didn't know any of those people, and he sure as shit didn't trust them. Then again, they didn't trust him either. The taller doctor whispered something, and the shorter one glanced at him, giving him what Sam could only describe as a stink eye. He almost snorted at the stupidity of his own thoughts, but a baby's shriek tore through the hospital. All 5 of them froze, glancing at each other. "Above," said the shorter doctor. Shit. Was it loud enough to attract the zombies from downstairs? Sam thought, straining to hear. The gunshots still filled the air, and the screams mostly stopped, though. Could it be that the police killed all of them? Did he dare hope? A zombie's roar came from above, followed by sprinting steps. That was the kick in the ass the group needed to move again. "One here." The janitor opened the storage room. "Grab weapons and run back." Sam let the others go in first, still listening to the running steps and the gunshots. Screams returned, but now from above as well. He felt the hope turn to dread in his stomach. It settled in his gut like a stone. "I should know better," he chided himself, and entered the storage room, or more accurately, the janitor's closet. Rows of tools were arranged on the shelves, as well as stored in boxes, plus the cleaning supplies stuffed in one corner. So many possibilities, so many choices. Now he finally smiled, lowering the sign and grabbing a curved hammer, plus a screwdriver and a red wrench. He didn't know the tool's name, but the one used to fix leaking pipes. "Take extra," the taller doctor whispered, pointing at a toolbox. "Jack, what is inside?" "Carpentry tools," the janitor Jack said. "Meaning?" the doctor asked. "Screwdrivers, hammers, nail gun, a small handsaw, and glue. Grab that and let's go." Sam ignored them, looking for even more valuable tools and weapons. Instead, he found safety gloves, face masks with filters, and knee and elbow pads. A whole box of them. Sam put it under his arm and followed them out. Someone whispered something. He couldn't tell who, but it didn't really matter. They moved. So did he. Rushing through the hallway, the gunshots, screams, growls, and sprinting steps following them all the while. 2 figures barreled down the stairwell, tripped, and fell. Limbs tangling, bones cracking against the steps. They hit the landing in a heap of snarls and wet slaps, then rolled into the corridor. "Go, go!" Sam hissed. The shapes untangled, jerking upright, moving wrong, all broken angles and twitching muscle. Bloody jaws snapped, shattered fingers clawed at the air. They burst into the patient's room. The shorter doctor slammed the door, and Jack and Sam jammed the bed frame against it. The first thud came seconds later, then another, heavier, as the second corpse slammed into the wood. Sam collapsed on one of the patient beds, his heart still raging in his chest, his hands trembling with adrenaline and fear. But he was safe. Finally, truly safe. Another slam rattled the door. Maybe not truly safe, he thought, closing his eyes. "Who is that?" asked a child's voice. "A guy we picked up," Jack said. "Can we trust him?" asked a woman's voice. Sam cracked one eye open, watching the newcomers, or well, the natives to his settler. He snorted, closing his eye. His brain had a habit of retreating into absurd humor when faced with hard situations, be it his divorce, his father's death, or a zombie outbreak. "What's funny?" she asked. "My brain," he said, sitting up. "There are 8 of you and 1 of me, so the question should be if I can trust you." "You wouldn't be lounging if you couldn't," said the shorter doctor, and Sam only now noticed that the man had a burn scar across his neck and jaw. Sam shrugged, watching the 4 men he ran around with, their faces and features finally unblurring in his mind. "Maybe I should make the first move," he thought, getting up. "I'm Sam. Nice to meet you." "Jack," the janitor said. "Paul," said the patient who was in the hallway with them. "Tim," the taller doctor offered his hand. Sam took it. "Andreas," said the shorter one. "These are Olivia and her son Mike." The woman glared at him. Yet another slam rattled the door. "Jesus," said the man hooked to some hospital machine. "He must be Mexican," Sam thought, sitting back down. "And the rest?" "Hannah," said a short nurse with red hair. "Samuel," said the one hooked up to the machine. Sam nodded, not feeling the need to continue the conversation, and let himself lie back down. "What's the plan now?" Olivia asked. "I don't know," Andreas said. "We need to get out," Jack said, and silence punctuated his words. Sam's eyes shot open, listening to the thuds and growls at their door and the lack of gunshots. What does that mean? He got up and marched to the window. Did the cops win? How? The woman asked again. "We can't go downstairs." The scene froze him to the bone, not because of a bloody mess, bodies, or zombies, but because there weren't any. The lawn and the entryway looked pristine, as if it were a normal Thursday, albeit with cop cars next to open ambulances. But that too wasn't all that strange, and certainly not blood-freezing and toes-curling terrifying. "We could wait it out," Samuel said. "Maybe the military or the cops will kill them all." Sam ignored them, scanning the outside world, and finally saw something out of the ordinary. 2 dead figures slumped by a bench, bullet holes visible from this distance, and 3 or 4 figures clawing at the gate at the far corner. People or zombies? He couldn't tell. A scream tore through the hospital, followed by growls. Then came footsteps, dozens of them, pounding through the halls, growing louder and louder. Even the banging at their door stopped. We need to be quiet, Jack hissed. And barricade the door better, Andreas agreed. Not now, Sam whispered, listening. The gunshots stopped. Any sound we make will draw them to us. True, Paul agreed. So we need to be quiet and settle down. Wait for the police to handle the situation. As if they heard him, 4 more cars rolled in. Blue lights flashing, but sirens were off. So they knew, Sam nodded. It might be sooner than we thought, he whispered, watching another 2 cars and a police van park. Men and women dressed in riot gear stepped out, armed to the teeth and looking for round 2. Will that be enough, though? Jack whispered into his ear. Too close, Sam answered. And I don't know. There must be hundreds of them by now, the man said, shivering. Yeah, Sam muttered, listening to the movement outside. The snarls, growls, and running steps filled the air just as the stench of blood and medicine did. Good, Paul breathed next to them. We will wait it out. Sam nodded, getting back into bed. The springs creaked as he lay down, and he waited for half a breath before closing his eyes, letting himself rest again. But the universe had other plans. Samuel coughed, dry and ragged. Sam sat up, staring at the man, who lifted his hand in apology, before having another coughing fit. Shut him up, Sam jumped to his feet, but it was too late. The growls grew louder, the steps rushed closer and closer. A zombie slammed against the door. Then another, and another, and another. The whole frame shuddered under their assault. Fuck! Sam cursed. Sam grabbed the window latch and yanked. It didn't budge. Jack rushed to his side, the janitor's key ring jingling in his trembling hands. He didn't even try the keys, just jammed a wrench through the latch and pried until the glass cracked. The door shook once again, the screws rattling in the hinges. More sheets! Andreas shouted, ripping the blanket from one of the beds. Hannah followed suit, tying them together with shaking fingers. Mattress to land on, Paul said, tying the sheets together. Sam flung the green mattress out. The door groaned again, hinges screaming. Something heavy smashed into it. Wood splintered. A bloody hand reached through. Go, go, go! Jack shouted, pushing Olivia to the window. You and the little one first. No, Andreas said. I'll go first, in case there are zombies down there. Just go! Paul shouted and threw the makeshift rope out. Sam grabbed the other end and tied it to a bedpost. Secured! Andreas didn't hesitate. The man swung out of the window and disappeared from Sam's view. The bed next to him groaned and screeched, sliding across the floor. Sam grabbed it and pulled back. Jack joined him, and the 2 men inched across the tiles with the bed, slowly but surely reaching the window. The wood behind them cracked, more hands peeking through. The bed slid to the wall beside the window and leaned against it. That should hold, Jack muttered. Olivia, go. Mike, you first, she said. The boy shook his head, backing away. We don't have the time, Hannah, go, Sam shouted, turning to look at the door, or what was left of it. Bloodshot eyes stared back at him. Jack grabbed a hammer and rushed the things. Paul's eyes went wide. Damn it all, Sam thought, and joined Jack. Hannah disappeared behind the window. Sam slammed the curved edge down, tearing through a zombie's skull. But another one just took its place. You 2 next, Paul told Olivia and Mike. But the boy looked terrified. Samuel? The sick man shook his head. I'm staying. Samuel, go! Sam swung wide and crushed another one's skull. The zombie fell back, ripping the hammer out of his hand. The wood shrieked, ripping apart. You next! Jack shouted, slamming his hammer down. The zombie crumpled, but others took its place. Sam didn't think twice. He ran to the window and swung one leg over the sill, starting down. His hands burned. His heart felt like a drum in his throat. Below him, the police shouted orders, the first bursts of gunfire cracking through the air, and he heard it. A groan and a snap. Then screams. They broke in. Sam sped his pace up. The rope jerked. Someone else had started climbing after him. He saw Jack's blue overalls overhead, and he felt the sheet rope give. Sam let go. He hit the ground hard, pain shooting through his knees and back. The air stank of blood and burned powder. Hannah pulled him aside, and Jack plummeted down, hitting the mattress hard and cursing. Hannah helped him up. "Come on," Sam called, glancing up in time to see Paul climbing out, just to see a woman crash into him and both of them fly out. He screamed. They hit hard. The zombie on top of him, teeth tearing into his back. Sam swung his hammer down, once, twice, thrice, and the thing finally stopped eating. The hospital lights flickered. Inside, bloody shapes piled up on the glass. It shuddered, and zombies spilled out the window like ants from a broken nest. Gunfire filled the air. Zombies turned to the noise, the shouting, the muzzle flashes. The police line opened up, rifles snapping in rhythm. But there were too many. The first wave fell, the second hit, and the third kept coming. And even more came from within. Patients, doctors, nurses, guards, police, and many more. And some of those turned their undead eyes on Sam and his. They ran beside him. He didn't check who else followed. They didn't look back at the ones still on the rope. But he heard Olivia scream. He ran past the parked ambulances, past the police cars, until he couldn't tell whether the screams behind him were human or not. They should have checked. Nails raked Hannah's back. She stumbled. Sam slammed his wrench down on a boy's face. Jack lurched, a mouth clamped to his arm, bright blood misting the sun. Sam crushed the little skull and ran, or he tried to. Something hit him from behind and rode him down. Claws in his shoulders, teeth at his neck. Pain like lightning, then the grass rushing up, and the wet, patient sound of chewing. You've just listened to The Hospital of the Dead, a standalone short story from The Collapse. I post new stories twice a week, with The Collapse and The Kill List saga running side by side. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and check out The Kill List Saga, a dark revenge fantasy filled with blood oaths, a brutal world, and unforgettable characters. Thank you for listening, and I hope the rest of your day treats you well.